Hello and welcome to Anti-Vlogmas number 14. We are over halfway there, and welcome to my bathroom. So today I thought I'd start off by having you join me while I am getting ready for the day. So this is makeup for perimenopausal skin over 40. The first thing I start off with is a primer, and my favorite primer is Baby Skin by Maybelline. And I only do primers when I feel like I need it. I need them more often in the winter time. So it is cold, dry weather outside, so I am in need of a primer. So yeah, and then if you're in a drier climate, then you might need primers more often. When I took my vacation in early 2020, it was in March, I think, I was in Colorado, and that's pretty dry. So I had to do primer and moisturizer, and I had to lay it on pretty thick because it was just drying out my skin. My skin is already fairly dry naturally, and it's probably more my age than anything else. Because I mean, I used to have oily skin or combination skin, but yeah, it's been dry for years now. So a primer is important, especially if you have perimenopausal skin, such as I do. So yeah, I was trying to think of what can I vlog today besides just my usual day, which doesn't change a whole lot. And so I thought, okay, let's do kind of a, get ready with me here of how I do my makeup being perimenopausal. And then if you're perimenopausal and you are interested in makeup, or if you don't do makeup or you'd like to, here you go. I don't do a whole lot of makeup. But I do take my time because, in my opinion, it's technique and the way makeup is applied is what's important. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to a concealer. I do one that is very light, and I prefer the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop, but I don't have that right now, so I got my second one, which is the e.l.f. Concealer. So I'm going to go in with that next, and I'm going to start with just the sides of my nose. This is disappointing. It doesn't keep covered very long. I've even tried different colored correctors. For, when you get older, you kind of get some discoloration on the side of your nose and whatnot. Now, being perimenopausal, I have had on and off again acne outbreaks that have happened on my neck and chest. I only have a few pimples left, but I still have the hyperpigmentation from the spots where the acne is healing, and that can stay with me for months. So that bothers me. So I am just going through and dotting around the concealer all over my neck and chest because that hyperpigmentation from my perimenopausal outbreak does not make me happy. Okay, now I'm going to go under eyes. Most people, when you have discoloration under eyes, usually it's actually just in the corner. So you don't have to go all under your eye, just in the corner. And if you have deep eyes like I do, then you might have tear troughs, which as you get older, they go all the way around, like mine do, giving you the appearance of eye bags, even though you don't actually have eye bags. So then you want to place your concealer underneath your eye bag, not on it and not above it. And if you have fine lines under your eyes, which if you're perimenopausal you most likely do, try to do no makeup under your eye except at the corner for coloration. Alright, so I got my concealer applied, so I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to start with my eyes. I'm going to start in the corner, brush downward into a triangular formation. Other than the corner, nothing else is actually near my eye. It is underneath my tear trough. See? And then I'm just going to blend that so we don't have harsh lines. There we go. And it doesn't matter if I have harsh lines at the triangle, but I'll soften that a bit because that's going to get handled. And I just have a little paper towel here off to the side where I'm always wiping off my brushes. So then the other eye. There we go. Now I'm going to put this brush away. I'm going to leave this concealer here for a bit longer, and I'm going to move on to foundation. For years I just used a BB cream. I just need something that moisturizes and is tinted and has sunscreen. My favorite BB creams have all disappeared over the years. So I'm now using a foundation, but it's not that thick and doesn't cover a whole lot, which is what I like. And it's the L'Oreal Infallible. And I do the Pro Glow because I have dry skin. If you have oily skin, you'd want to do the Pro Matte. So I'm going to dot this on the neck and chest area here. And this has sunscreen in it. The Pro Glow does. I don't know about the Pro Matte. It has sunscreen in it, so that's very helpful. It's another reason I like to go ahead and put it, especially in this area, because that's where most women show sun damage quite often, and you want to protect that area. So I'm getting sunscreen on here at the same time. And I'm going to use my Kabuki brush. I love Kabuki brushes. And get that pressed in. I'm pressing it in first to spread around the foundation. And now I'm going to blend it all in. There we go. Now all the hyperpigmentation from healing acne is gone, covered up. Now I still notice I still have the things on the side of my nose. I don't blend that a whole lot because I want coverage there. I'm just going to bring it down a bit. There we go. Okay, keeping out my Kabuki brush and my foundation, let's move on to the face. Now the Infallible Pro Glow dries fast. So I don't bop it on all parts of my face because it dries fast. So I do my face in 2 parts. Now, I am not rubbing it on. I am not using a sponge or my fingers. I'm using my Kabuki brush and I am pressing it on. This will help prevent cakiness. This foundation doesn't cake up, at least the Pro Glow anyways, very much. But if you have drier skin, you can be prone to cakiness anyways. And if you press it on with a brush, such as a Kabuki brush, that helps. Now I'm squeezing it more narrow so I can just spread it across on my cheek. So this is why I didn't have to bother totally blending in the white triangles that I pulled down with the concealer, because now it's getting handled. Okay, now I'm going to get the rest of my face. I have a lot of pink undertones in my face, so the foundation really helps bring down some of that pinkness, some of that redness. Don't go overboard with very much on the nose. The nose and next to the nose tends to show pores the most on the face. Alright, now to the nose. I still have that kind of concealer on the sides, and then that's just going to get handled along with the foundation here. Now any place where you have certain lines or wrinkles, you want little to no makeup on those areas if you can help it. I have a wrinkle at the top of the bridge of my nose. I've had that there since I was 38. And I do not put makeup on it. A little bit gets kind of, brushed on it as I'm doing my makeup, but I don't specifically work in that area. Just like I don't specifically put any makeup directly under my eyes except in the corner area, because any makeup you put into fine lines and wrinkles is usually going to bring them out and make them look way worse and way exaggerated. Okay, so now foundation is done. Always put things away when you're done with them. Now I'm going to move on to banana powder. I like the Ben Nye banana powder. It's pricey, but it lasts me a very long time because, as you're going to see, I only use very, very little. So I'm going to get out a little brush for that and get some product on the brush. I'm going to do what I call the football look here. So I'm going straight across just the bottom of my tear trough and making a straight line. And I'm leaning over the sink because I don't like to make a mess and you're going to have powder falling off. So I'd like it to land in the sink. And if some gets on your shirt, don't rub it. Just do that over the sink and it'll come right off. Now I'm doing what I call a semi-bake or a light bake here. I'm going to leave it sit on my under eyes while I move on. And not for very long though. That's what I call it, a semi-bake. So putting that away, I'm going to get out my face powder. I am using my second favorite, which is a L'Oreal Hydra Perfect. I like the loose powder. I've got the translucent. My very favorite is the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop. I'm out of that, so I'm using my second favorite. Grab my powder brush, and let's start with the forehead. So as the powder, some of the powder falls down from my face as I'm applying it. I'm bent over so it's landing in the sink, and I'm blowing out with my mouth so I don't inhale any of it. Okay, now I'm going to go underneath the yellow on my eyes and get it around my cheek. And start pressing that in, and then I'm going to get the yellow powder under my eye. Like so. And again, I'm not rubbing the powder in my face, I am pressing it. So we want to kind of press it into those pores or create a brushed pore, which looks like a natural pore. You don't want brush strokes and you don't want cake. So you press. Don't forget to bring it down or back towards your ears and down along the jawline. And now I'm going to set that concealer and foundation that I did on the neck area here with the powder. This will definitely get powder on the outfit, but it'll come off easy. Now for this, I press it in first, and then I kind of brush. There we go. And as you see, I'm wearing black, so you can see the powder is coming off. It's not staying on because it would be very obvious if it was. Okay, now we have our base. But with our base, now everything is one color. And the natural face, everything is not one color. So now we're going to bring color back to the cheeks with some blush. I love the e.l.f. blushes. They are very pigmented, so you just use a little bit and they last a long time. So I'm going to get out a blush brush and get a little bit on the brush. I'm going to start on the outer edge and bring it in. The first place where you press the brush is a lot of times where a lot of the product is going to go, and especially with an older, like perimenopausal face, you're not going to want it really bright right by the nose. So I'm going to start up here, press it lightly, and go diagonal down, stop right there. Now I'm going to go upwards for the rest of my strokes. With each stroke, I'm pressing a little bit harder until I'm pressing at my normal pressure. There, like so. Now let's do the other cheek. You want to go diagonal up, not too close to the nose. And you want to bring it just about all the way or just short of your hairline. Okay, now I'm going to go back in and do a little bit of blending with the brush. So I'm not doing this round circular thing right there. We're sweeping upward. It's going to lift up the face. Alright, that's it for the blush. Now, contour or bronze. I'm using currently Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I'm using a very dark shade of it because I'm going to use it as, I'm going to use it as kind of like a contour. I can't find any bronzer or contour that stays on my face for very long. So it goes on while it goes on, it lasts while it lasts, and it fades away, and I usually don't bother reapplying. So I'm going to get my contour brush, which is very similar to a blush brush. And this, very pigmented. Just use a little bit. So getting a little bit I'm going to suck in my cheek, and I'm going to go underneath where I put the blush. I'm going to suck in my cheek, and that ridge that appears, that's where I'm going to put this. So it's back just about to my hairline and just comes out to about the little bit past the middle of my cheek, no further out. So when I'm getting the product in this, I'm just pressing the brush, just touching it to it. I'm not rubbing at all. Now I'm going to do down here in the jawline. And depending on the shape of your jawline will depend on where you put it or if at all. I have a very bony, prominent jawline, which I'm thankful for because it makes it hard for me to get a double chin. But I usually just put it on where my jaw is the strongest to kind of just bring it in a little bit. Okay, so let me put that away and wipe off my brush and put that away. And now I'm going to use my hands for this next part. I'm going to go to my wrinkle that's on the bridge of my nose. Just going to wipe, if there's any product in there, wipe it out so that the wrinkle doesn't stand out. And now I'm going to use my hands to blend in the bronzer that I just put on. So here in the jawline, then at the cheeks. And then I'm going to bring it up into the blush and use my fingers to kind of blend the blush more. Alright, and then just wipe off my hands. And then ears, they're shiny just on the inside. That bugs me. I just go here and just kind of wipe away some of the shine. If I'm getting ready for a special event, I have been known to put a little bit of powder in my ears for the shine. So you see, we now have a basic base. We haven't really done anything really makeup-y yet. We just got our nice base. We have what looks like a natural color and contour going on. My makeup is natural. It's to bring out my natural features, my femininity. It's not to change my look. It's not to do art on my face. Now, my teenage daughter, she does it for artistic reasons. She likes to do art on her face, so she has very expressive makeup. Mine is very natural. I still want to look like me. I don't really want to look like I'm wearing much makeup. It's just to bring out my femininity and to bring out my features. So now we're going to move on to eyebrows. And perimenopausal eyebrows and menopausal eyebrows is a thing. So when you are getting low on progesterone or not making much or any progesterone, which is where I'm roller coastering on right now, the outer brow tends to thin out. So my outer brow is getting a little bit patchy because my progesterone levels have been fairly low. And sometimes my estrogen levels roller coaster as well, and that's starting to make my inner brows a little bit patchy. It's just beginning. So there's many other reasons for thinning of brows, but a lot of times in women, especially if you're in your 40s or 50s, you'll notice the outer brow thinning is because you're low on your progesterone. The inner brow thinning is because you're low on your estrogen. So I'm not going to change my brows. I'm just going to fill them back in to how they were before I had perimenopause. So for that, I'm using the Brow Stylist Definer by L'Oreal. L'Oreal, I love them. And it has a pencil on one side and a brush on the other. So let's start with the pencil side. I am, like I said, I'm not drawing new brows. I'm not changing my brows. When I pluck my brows, that's all I do is I pluck hair from where it's not supposed to be. The strays that get out here, some that come down a bit. So I barely pluck, and when I do, it's usually just to get a few strays. I keep my natural brow shape. I'm not going to mess up my natural brow. I'm just going to fill it in where there used to be more brow hair and there isn't now. So I have my pencil ready. I'm going to start in the middle. And then I'm going to work my way outwards to where my lower progesterone levels have thinned out my outer brow. Bring it down to its tail. Then I'm going to go now moving towards the inner where it's starting to thin a bit as my estrogen levels fluctuate. There we go. That was my easy brow, by the way. Now let's do the same thing on my other brow. It takes me a bit longer because this one acts up. There. Now this looks kind of ridiculous right now, so I'm not done. I'm going to move to the brush side, and that's going to bring it all together. So now I'm going to brush them up, and then kind of diagonal to the side, and then the inner one I'm going to brush up again. And the brushing of the brow, it'll make the pencil strokes that you put in there get more of a hair texture because it'll shape it more hair-like. And it kind of just blends everything in. And then because I have primer on, it does make the pencil bleed up above my eyebrow a bit. It wipes right off with my finger. So this side is done. Now let's move on to this side. And then after you brush it, you might see a few spots you want to touch up on. So you can go back to the pencil, just do touch up. Ta-da! My brows are back to how they were in my 20s. Alright, so let me put that back. Now we're going to move on to actual more makeup-y stuff. We have all the natural stuff done and handled. So now let's move on to eyes. Now, especially as you get older, the eyes, they can get a bit smaller and they can almost kind of disappear into the face. So we want to bring the eyes back out. So I'm going to use an eyeliner. Now I am going to use a black eyeliner, which is interesting because I never wore black eyeliner when I was younger. It made me look mean. But I am noticing as I'm older, for some reason, the black eyeliner works. But I do have a specific technique. First, no wings. I never really did wings anyway. Second, no liquids. So I use kind of like a crayon eyeliner, one of them, or a mechanical pencil eyeliner. So you don't sharpen it, you just turn it and it'll bring more up, and it glides on the skin easily because in your 40s, your eyelids move all around. They're not tight, they don't stay still. So eyeliner, you want one that goes on easily. So I am using, again, L'Oreal, and this is their Le Liner Signature. I'm using the black. I also do have brown and blue and purple that I occasionally get into, but black has been my go-to recently and it's been great. So I'm going to start on the upper lid, and I'm going to do it a little bit thicker on my upper lid. I am not lining water lines. Okay, so I'm going to go in the lash line, and it's going to be a little bit thicker in my upper lids, and it does not have to be perfect. So here we go. Now I'm not going to open my eye all the way because this can transfer onto my lid as it's setting. So I'm going to keep my eye partially closed and move on to my other eye. And I start from the outer corner and make my way to the inner corner. I just put it on in dashes. Now if you were to see up close, you'd see it's not perfect. It's got a whole bunch of little lines and dots and faded areas, and that's okay. I'm now going to get a little lipstick brush, and I'm going to smudge the eyeliner I just put on. Especially at the inner edge, because you want it to be smudged and kind of blended, not a harsh line. Okay, so now my left eye looks pretty good. My right eye, not, because it hasn't been smudged yet. So let's smudge that one. Pretty good, and it still doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to do some eyeshadow there, which is going to kind of bring it in. So see, I'm just wiping off my brush. Keeping my eyes partially closed. They're going to stay partially closed until I'm done with my eyeshadows. But now we're going to move to the lower eyeliner next. And now for the lower, I'm not going to do the waterline. Just going to do just under my lashes, but it's going to be a thinner line. It's not going to be as thick or prominent. And again, don't worry about it being perfect because it will be fixed. So I start in the outer corner. I do not bring it all the way to the inner corner. I just bring it in about 3/4 in. So outer corner, little dashes. Bring it about 3/4 in. There. And right now this looks absolutely messy and horrible. And that's fine because it's temporary. So still not opening my eyes all the way. My eyes look crazy and that's fine. Now eyeshadow. I'm using Hard Candy eyeshadow. This is palette number 1302. And I love so many of the Hard Candy eyeshadows, and the brushes that come with them are fabulous. So it's a two-ended brush. I'm going to use the fluffy end for my upper lids, and then the small skinny end for my lower. So let's go to the uppers first. I'm going to grab kind of this grayish brownish color here. And I'm not rubbing it on, I am just popping it on. Do it gentle so that you don't have fallout. And what's cool with this eyeshadow is if you do have fallout, it's usually just the shimmer that falls out. This is a shimmery eyeshadow, and that's on purpose. I don't want glitter. I am a bit too old for that. But shimmer brightens the eyes. So I personally, for older skin, suggest a shimmery eyeshadow. Okay, I'm going to wipe off my brush and keep my eyes partially closed because it brightens the eyes. Now you notice I didn't do all this fancy stuff. I didn't go up to my brow. When I open my eyes, my eyeshadow mostly disappears. So I'm not going to do this fancy stuff. Plus, I want to stay natural. So I just put it on my lid, just up and a bit past the crease, and that's it. So I covered over the eyeliner and went up to about the crease or a bit above it, and that's it. Now my second one, I'm just going to get this color here on the end, and this is extra shimmery brown. Now I'm going to put that on top in the same spot. I start bopping it over the eyeliner, then I work up to the crease and maybe slightly above the crease, just up there a little bit, and that's it. Now let's get some more for the other eye. Same thing. Start over the eyeliner. I am just bopping it on. I am not rubbing, and I'm being gentle. So eyelids at this age move all around, but if you just bop it on, then it doesn't matter if your eyelid moves around or not. So look, I can finally have my eyes fully opened again. So I'm going to wipe off this brush, and got a little bit on my finger here. I try to keep things very clean and organized when I do my makeup. Alright, so the upper lids are done. The lower lids still look insane. We're on to those next. Notice we didn't smudge the lower liner. That's because what we're going to do next is going to add some shimmer, brighten the eyes, and smudge the liner at the same time. Now this is going to be amazing. Okay, so we're going to grab again our same first shade, and now we're using the skinny brush. Alright, now I'm just going to press it in just 4 spots, going right under my eyelashes. Now I'm going to brush that in, and I'm going to make some faces. And this one I am going to go all the way to the corner of my eye. I'm brushing right underneath my eyelash. So not only did it go right underneath my eyelash, but it pushed this eyeshadow product onto just the outer edge of my waterline. So the outer edge of the waterline has this subtle shimmer to it, and it brightens the eye. It's fabulous. Okay, now let's do the other eye. Same thing, push some product on first. Now we're going to smudge the eyeliner with the eyeshadow on the brush. And this time we're going all the way to the corner, remember? And we are doing it just underneath the eyelashes so that some of the product is pushing up between the eyelashes just to the outer edge of the waterline. The inner edge of your waterline still has no product, so it's not brushing against your eyeball, and it shouldn't be irritating. Let me wipe off my brush. Doing this, you might get a few little flecks in your eyes. Just blink a few times, you should be fine. You can look at your eyes if you have any in there, which I rarely do, but if you do, if you just take a clean finger, you can actually just touch it. Touch your finger to that part of your eyeball gently, and it'll come off on your finger. Now, if you don't wear contact lenses, you might not be good at that. I've been wearing contact lenses for very many years, so I'm very used to touching my eyes. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the same second shade. Get some on the skinny brush. And do the same thing again. And this is adding extra shimmer. Good. Let's do the other eye. There. And I'm going to wipe off my brush, and we're done with the eyeshadow. See, I'm not very extravagant with the eyeshadow. Now, I don't do fake lashes. Maybe if my lashes thin out or become a problem later in life, I might try them, but currently I tried them once and I hated them, and I thought it made me look like I had about an IQ of 90, so it wasn't my thing. So I'm going to do mascara, and my favorite mascara in the world is the Voluminous Lash Paradise by L'Oreal. This stuff is great. Now, I have a very specific mascara technique. So I'm just giving it a little bit of shake. I don't know if that does squat. It's habit. Don't pump your mascara when you take it out, because that is not going to get my product on it. Just swirl it around as you take it out. I don't need to do that because this one's still fairly new. Now, I'm going to do one layer on my top lash. I put extra on my top outer lashes more than on the rest of my upper lashes. And here's my mascara base. Now, this doesn't clump or stick a whole lot, but it does a little bit, as all mascaras do. So, now I'm going to put this away. I'm not opening my eyes all the way yet because this is still wet. And I'm just going to get one of these handy brushes. And it's got this on the other end. It's probably supposed to be an eyebrow brush, but I'm going to use this for my eyelashes. And I'm just going to brush my upper eyelashes out. And I do not put mascara on my lower lashes. I do if I'm getting ready. If I'm getting dressed up, then I'll do 2 or 3 coats of my upper lashes and 1 or 2 coats on my lowers. But for this normal, everyday, natural look, I just do 1 coat on the upper lashes, and then I spend a long time here just brushing them out. I want to separate the lashes and get rid of clumps. So do that. There we go. Now I'm going to wipe off my lash brush here, just rubbing it in paper towel. Put that back in its spot. Now, I'm just going to do a pinching motion and just going to pull any little bit of mascara that got on the corner of my lower lashes and anything that might look weird in my very, very corners. Okay. Now, I'm just going to take this little small fluffy brush, and I'm just going to look around each eye and on the side of the nose for any eyelashes or fallout and brush it away. Now, with this technique of what I did with the eyeshadow, it automatically gets some eyeshadow pushed in the very corners and automatically gets some shimmer that falls naturally right there with my technique. So that's awesome. I don't have to do it on purpose. It does it for me automatically, and it's really cute. It's a very, very subtle thing, but it looks really good. The eyes are done. Let's move on to the lips. Let's start with a lip liner. I like the Revlon Color Stay lip liners. So this one is a pink one because I am a pink girl. And I'm going to pop it on and line my lips. And I do little to no overlining. I'm not into the big lip craze. I'm more into lip shape, and I like my lip shape. I have a nice formed Cupid's bow, and I think the proportion of my lips are proper for my face. So I'm going to line the upper exactly normal, making sure I define my Cupid's bow, and the lower I'm just going to barely overline, like hardly at all, like maybe by half of a width of the tip of this rounded pencil. So let's line the lips. Alright, and lips are lined. And what's nice is that helps define the lips. So it's like lining the eyes helps define the eyes. I'm not going to fill it in because that just gives me sticky lips when I put my lipstick on top. So the lips are lined. Now the lipstick that I'm currently using, and is one of my very favorite, is a Revlon Color Stay Suede. These are great. They last all day with one application, at least they do with me. And it's not a liquid lipstick, so you don't have sticky problems. And this is in the shade Woman's Wear 010. It's a nice pink shade. It goes with that Revlon Color Stay lip liner I just put on. So I'm going to put this on kind of thickly because I want it to last all day. Okay. And then I always like to trace it over with my fingers while it's still fresh. There we go. So this is slightly sticky as it's setting in and drying. It sets in about 2 to 5 minutes and then it stays on. I can kiss my husband, I can drink from a straw or a cup, I can eat, and it doesn't transfer. It will stay on my face and it doesn't get on your teeth either. So I like that because I like to smooch on my husband a lot and I don't like leaving lipstick on him. So this, as soon as it's set in about 5-ish minutes, will not transfer, should stay in place all day. I go to the dentist in this stuff, and my lips, they still look fresh and just fine and not smeared or faded after the dentist. But you want to remove it at nighttime before you go to bed or whenever you remove your makeup. So take a chapstick or some type of lip balm and you want to put it on your lips and then rub them with a paper towel. You might need to repeat that 3 to 5 times to get it all off. The beauty is at the same time that exfoliates your lips with the paper towel and moisturizes them with your chapstick or whatever lip balm that you use. So the makeup is done. I am just now going to get my hair handled. So let's get my hair down, and I'm going to get my hair handled and get on my head covering, and then you'll see the final result. Okay, and I am all done. So that's all I did for my hair. Was I just brushed it, and then I just ran a hair straightener through it just to kind of take care of any frizzies or flyaways, just to kind of keep it in its general, you know, keep it behaving. And yeah, and then I just put on my head covering and my clippy barrettes, done. Now I do have to give special care to my bangs, which needs wetted down for my bangs, because this side of my bangs, the hair is actually a different texture and sits differently. This side will lay down for me. This side likes to go straight up. So if I don't style or do anything with my bangs, then I have half bangs here, and then this half I just kind of pin back or push back. But I like to have kind of a medium thickness full bangs. So I just use a bit of this product here, Cantu Shea Butter Twist and Lock Gel, and I just put it at the roots of my hair here and pulling in a downward way, and that makes this side of my bangs lay down instead of being a cowlick that stands straight up. And then when I run my straightener through my bangs, I run it through my bangs, and at the very end I turn it a little bit as I pull the straightener out of my hair, and that gives my bangs just a slight curve. Now when my bangs are freshly cut and they're fairly short, I just go straight. But when they get more longer, then I just end it with a curve before I remove the straightener. And when my bangs are really long but I'm not ready to trim them yet, then I'll do a curve up here, go down, and then a curve down here. So they bump up here a bit and curve here so that my bangs don't get into my eyes. And by the time I'm doing that with my bangs, I know I need to schedule an evening before my shower to give them a trim. So I am ready, And yeah, I've been wanting to share with you, one of the ways you can do perimenopausal makeup in case you're looking for ideas and in case you're a female and you're perimenopausal. And now I thought I would jump in and just give you just another little tidbit as for another reason as to why I don't celebrate Christmas. And today I'm actually going to go through just a whole bunch of verses. So instead of flipping through my Bible to all the verses, I just printed them out from Notepad really quick so that I can just go through them that way. So building up of yesterday, we touched on Deuteronomy 12:2, and recall that said, "Ye do utterly destroy all the places where the nations which ye are dispossessing served their gods, on the high mountains and on the heights and under every green tree." Now, the green tree is mentioned a lot in the worship of the false gods, a lot. So I thought I would read you some of the instances in the Bible where it's mentioned. I'm not going to read you every instance. It's in there a lot, but I thought I'd read you several. For example, it's also in 1 Kings 14:23, where it says, "And they build also they for themselves high places and standing pillars and shrines on every height and under every green tree." 2 Kings 16:4 says, "And he sacrificeth and maketh perfume in high places and on the heights and under every green tree." 2 Kings 17:10 says, "And set up for them standing pillars and shrines on every height and under every green tree." 2 Chronicles 28 verse 4 says, "And sacrificeth and maketh perfume in high places and on the heights and under every green tree." And Jeremiah 17 verse 2 says, "And their sons remember their altars and their shrines by the green tree, by the high hills." So what are people doing right now? They're celebrating Christmas, and many people in the name of Christ, but it's on Baal's birthday, and part of celebrating it involves what? Putting presents under a green tree. Nonetheless, a green tree that they brought into their house and decorated, which is against Jeremiah chapter 10. Okay, so let's look at a few verses specifically in Jeremiah chapter 2. Let's look at verse 11, all right? Excuse me. And this is a good chapter to read the whole chapter, so we're just going to highlight a few verses. So verse 11 of Jeremiah chapter 2 says, "Hath the nation changed gods? And they are no gods. And my people hath changed its honor for that which doth not profit." Have you changed gods? Are you normally a Christian, but come December 25th and the days building up to it, you suddenly have a green tree. You're casting presents under the green tree. This green tree that is decorated as an idol, Jeremiah chapter 10, sitting there in your house with the star of Remphan, the Saturnalia star on top of your green tree, creating a high place unto Baal and Moloch. And then further down in chapter 2, if we look at verse 20, it says, "For from of old thou hast broken thy yoke, drawn away thy bands, and sayest, I do not serve, for on every high height and under every green tree thou art wandering, a harlot." Wow, how many people are saying that today who call themselves Christians, and they're saying, yeah, but I'm not serving that God, the demon behind the green tree idol. I'm not actually serving him. Whoops, listen again. "For from of old thou hast broken thy yoke, drawn away thy bands, and sayest, I do not serve. For on every high height and under every green tree thou art wandering, a harlot." Doesn't matter if you say you're not serving or not, you're doing the action, and that is considered serving, and God considers you a harlot. You are committing spiritual adultery and spiritual fornication. And building off of that, if we take a look at the next chapter, Jeremiah chapter 3, and let's just look at verses 1 through 6. All right, saying, "Lo, one sendeth away his wife, and she hath gone from him, and she hath been to another man. Doth he turn back unto her again? Greatly defiled is not that land? And thou hast committed whoredom with many lovers, and turn again to me, an affirmation of Jehovah." Are you committing whoredom right now? Are you being a lover of Christmas when Christmas is not of the truth and our God is of the truth? Are you committing whoredom right now? Are you playing the harlot on God? Verse 2, "Lift thine eyes to the high places and see, Where hast thou been lain with? On the ways thou hast sat for them, as an Arab in the wilderness, as thou defilest the land by thy fornications and by thy wickedness. This is talking about a spiritual fornication. You're cheating on God. Verse 3. And withheld our showers, and gathered rain hath not been. The forehead of a whorish woman thou hast refused to be ashamed. So not only are those who claim to be children of God and who know about the paganness of Christmas but continue to celebrate it, not only does this say they're committing adultery, but it says that they're hard-headed, like a whorish woman who's not ashamed of her whoredoms. So is the person who claims to be a person of God and who's partaken of these things with these green trees. Christmas, presents under the green tree. Verse 6. Hast thou not henceforth called to me, my Father? Thou art the leader of thy youth. Doth he keep the age? Watch forever. So listen again. Hast thou not henceforth called to me, my Father? Thou art the leader of my youth. Doth he keep to the age? Watch forever? Do you call to God and say, God, you are my Father, and you are leading, and I am trusting in you. Yet, lo, these things thou hast spoken, and thou dost the evil things, and prevaileth. You say with your lips that you love God, and that you are following him only, but with your actions you are serving Baal. Verse 6. And Jehovah saith unto me, in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel hath done? She is going on every high mountain, and unto the place of every green tree, and committeth fornication there. A Christian keeping Christmas, knowing that that is not anywhere near Jesus' birthday, and knowing that this is a pagan tradition, and keeping it anyways, is committing fornication against God. This is a serious offense and something that seriously needs to be considered. If you've been following along in this Anti-Vlogmas series and you are still celebrating Christmas, you still have your Christmas tree up, yet you call yourself a child of God, then I hope that Jeremiah chapters 2 and 3, if nothing else yet, has convinced you, that these chapters have convinced you that you need to take down that tree and get rid of it, and you need to cancel your Xmas plans. Save your gifts for doing on New Year's Eve or on New Year's. So that's my little tidbit for today, for another reason why I don't partake in Christmas in any way, shape, or form. And it is getting dark. We are heading out to run some errands. We need to pick up some car stuff, and we need to get some more oil for my car and such. So we're probably just going to pick up some supper on our way out.
That's right.
So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this vlog here. Have a blessed day.